Hello students. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is matter around us pure, we were talking about that of the properties of the compound and mixture. So we have seen if we were talking about the mixture, students, so basically mixtures are of two type, and that is homogeneous mixture is there and heterogeneous mixture is there. Homogeneous mixture is that mixture which cannot be distinguished from each other. It means the components, they mixed with each other throughout. The composition is uniform throughout, you can say, by mass, and there is no such kind of a visible boundary or any kind of a separation boundary. But in case of the heterogeneous mixture, you will find that it is a mixture which differ from each other, since there is a visible boundary. The components differ from each other, okay, and it is very easy for us to distinguish between the two components by which the solution is made up of. Okay, so this was about that of the heterogeneous mixture. Okay, and we have seen the example of the homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture, students. So we have seen that in case of the homogeneous mixture, you see, if we talk about the homogeneous mixture, so salt and water is there. So when you mix salt and water, then you will find that the salt will be dissolved to each and every part of the water. Okay, so we can say that is what? That is a homogeneous mixture. Okay, salt solution. Any kind of a solution is an example of a homogeneous mixture in which the solute is properly dissolved in that of the solvent to form the solution. If we talk about the heterogeneous example, students, so sand and water is a very good example. So when you add mud or that of the sand in water, and when you keep it, what you will find? It, first of all, it will not going to dissolve properly, and second, the composition of the sand is not uniformly, but it is somewhere it is more, somewhere it is less, so very non-uniformly it is distributed throughout the mass. As well as when you left it, when you keep it aside, you will find that there is a fine separation boundary is visible to us, by which we can say that it is a part of the sand and this is the part of the water. Okay, so a visible boundary is also present there. That is an example of a heterogeneous mixture. Now we were talking about that of the compound, students. And in the compounds, we were talking about that of the properties of the compound. Okay, so in the property, students, the first property that we have seen in the compound, that it is what the definition itself says, that when two or more elements they combine together, they always combine in a fixed proportion or fixed ratio by mass, and that is what? That is the compound. So the first thing that we have seen in case of a compound, that compound is what? It is a pure substance. Right, it is a pure substance, and if it is a sorry, if it is a pure substance, student, it means the composition is uniform. It means what? It is an example of a homogeneous mixture. Okay, so we can say that it is what? It is an homogeneous mixture. Now we have seen here one thing, that the molecule is what? A molecule is the smallest particle, you can say, of smallest substance of that of the compound. It means compound consisting of a lot of molecules. Okay, lot of molecules are present in that of the compound. Now we have seen here the compounds basically formed of two or more elements combined together. So we can say that two or more elements combined. and combine in a fixed ratio by mass. Okay, so they always combine together in a fixed proportion or a fixed ratio by mass. This is the example, this is the definition of that of the compound. Now we say that since it mixes with each other in a fixed ratio, so it is uniform, and since it is uniform, it cannot be separated by any of the chemical method, usual chemical method. Now see here students, so we can say that it cannot be separated, it cannot be separated by any physical means, like students evaporation or crystallization. It cannot be separated by such kind of physical methods. Okay, physical methods like evaporation, crystallization, filtration, students we can say, etc. Not more are there. Okay, so it cannot be separated by any of the physical means. So basically what happened in case of the compound, so compound is formed by two or more elements. Now these two or more elements, they always combine together by a chemical process. It means here either heat is evolved or heat is absorbed. So energy is absorbed by that of the elements so that they combine together to form the compounds. So we can write it here, that is, so we can write it, that is, energy is either given out or it is absorbed for the formation of the compound. Okay, so we can write it, that is, energy is either given out or energy is absorbed, or it is absorbed. Energy is either given out or it is absorbed for the formation of compounds. Okay, so either energy is given out or it is absorbed for the formation of the compound. Okay, so basically here energy is required either or energy is evolved when the two elements they combine. So the combination, maybe it releases energy or it require energy so that they combine with each other. Now we have seen here one more, that the properties of the compound is entirely different from the constituent from which it is made up of. So we already had seen this point. Let me write it again, that is, properties of a compound is entirely different from the properties of its constituents of which it is made up of. Okay, so we can say that the component, the constituent through which it is made up of the properties is entirely different from the constituent. Okay, the property is totally different from the compound which is formed. Okay, so we can say that this also comes in the property. Now we are knowing that it is a homogeneous one. It means it is uniform throughout. It cannot be distinguished. It means it cannot be separated from each other by any of the physical means. Okay, so let us write this one also, and that is cannot be separated by any of the physical means. Now see. Okay, so we can say, student, that these are what? These are the properties of the compound. Okay, so we have seen all the properties of the compound. We have understood the term mixture also, as well as we have understand that of the properties of the compound. Now students, what we will do, now we will try to understand the concept of the properties of the compound and that of the mixture and how they differ from each other. And for this, students, we will take a mixture of two substances. So in the first case, students, what we have taken a mixture of iron and sulfur. So here sulfur powder is there. So here we have taken sulfur powder. We have taken here sulfur powder and iron fillings, you can see, students. Okay, so this is the first case in which we have taken that of the iron filling and sulfur powder, and we are saying what? It is a mixture only of the iron and sulfur. Now let us try to understand with the help of the properties of the mixtures that whether these two mixtures are following the properties of the mixtures or not. Okay, so let us see it. So we will start with the first one, students. So you see, student, here we have taken the iron filling and we have taken the sulfur powder and we simply mixed it with each other. Okay, we will go to the ratio and the mass and everything later on. Let us see that, okay, you have taken iron sulfur, iron fillings and that of the sulfur powder, which is slightly yellowish in color, and when you mixes it, simply you will mixes it without providing any kind of energy or heat to it. You have just simply mixed it. Now, is it possible for us to separate these two components from each other? Let us try to understand this one. So when you have taken the iron filling and the sulfur powder and when you mixed it, now in the first case what you will do, that use a magnet and bring it close to the mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder. So you have taken a magnet near to that of the mixture, which is a mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder. What do you observe, student? You will find that all the iron filling will get stick to that of the magnet. Since it is a magnetic material, so it will get attracted towards the magnet and it will stick to that of the magnet. But the sulfur powder will remain as such. There will be no such kind of a change will occur in that of the sulfur powder. It means it will not going to attract to that of the magnet. But the iron filling, it will get attracted towards the magnet. And due to which we are able to separate the iron filling from that of the sulfur powder by a simple physical means. Okay, so we can write it that here the iron fillings will get attracted towards the magnet. Will get attracted towards the magnet. But sulfur does not, and thus both of them gets separated. Okay, so iron filling will not going to get attract. Will going to get attract with that of the magnet, but sulfur does not. So by this, student, we are able to separate the iron filling from that of the sulfur. Okay, so here we are separating it by the method that is magnetic separation, which is a very physical method, you can say, very simple method by which we are able to separate it. So we can say that yes, that iron and the means or a mixture can be separated by a physical means. Okay, so this one, the first thing that we have understood. Now let us see the another one. So here by physical means also we are able to separate that of the iron and the sulfur powder. The second we will write here, students. Okay. So, if we see the second method, so here again we have taken the same mixtures. So, what we will do, now we will add dilute hydrochloric acid in the mixture of the iron and the sulfur powder. So, we can write it, add dilute hydrochloric acid to the mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder. Okay, so when you add the dilute hydrochloric acid to the mixture, what will you observe? You will find, student, that this iron filling will react with that of the dilute hydrochloric acid, and thus because of the reaction there is a release of the hydrogen gas which can be detected by bringing the a burning splinter close to the mouth of the test tube. Then by bringing a burning splinter close to that of the mouth of the boiling tube, what you will observe, students, that a pop sound will be released. A pop sound will be formed or produced because of the burning splinter. So this is what this is the test detection by which we are able to detect the kind of a gas, and that is the hydrogen gas. Okay, so we can see that when you add the dilute hydrochloric acid to the mixture, then the iron filling will get dissolved in the dilute HCl and thus releases hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas. Okay, but what about the sulfur, student? So sulfur remain as such. Okay, so we can write that, but sulfur remains as such. Okay, so sulfur, it remains as usual, it remains as such. So this is the second method, student. Now here what happened, we have added a kind of a chemical in it. So it is what, it is a kind of a usual chemical change by which we are able to separate that of the two components from each other. So you can see here that one of them is showing its own property, another one is showing its own property. So here, although we have mixed both of them together, but iron, even though it is a part of the mixture of the iron filling and sulfur, but it is showing its property. Okay, the same thing we can see even when you add a carbon disulfide. Okay, so when you add a carbon disulfide solution, you will find that the sulfur will get dissolved in it, and but the iron filling will not going to dissolve in it. And even you will find that we can filter that of the, we can filter, when we filter the solution, then we get the iron filling as a residue, while that of the sulfur powder will remain dissolved in the carbon disulfide. So you can see that this is a property of the sulfur powder. When you take a sulfur powder and add it to the carbon disulfide, it will get dissolved in it. So this is a property of sulfur powder, and even the same property is still it is showing by the sulfur powder, even though it is a part of the mixture of the iron filling and the sulfur powder. So we can say that if we will write the second case also, then we will be able to understand the concept much clearer. Let me write it. So, if we will write that, if we add carbon disulfide, if we add carbon disulfide in the mixture of iron filling and that of the sulfur, iron filling and sulfur, then sulfur will gets dissolved in the carbon disulfide, CS2. We can also write it like, it is what? It is CS2. Okay. But iron does not. So here the iron In the first one, when you add the dilute hydrochloric acid to the mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder, so here iron filling will react with that of the dilute hydrochloric acid, but the sulfur powder do not react. In this case, when you add the carbon disulfide, iron filling does not get dissolved, but the sulfur it get dissolved. So normally when you take an iron filling and add a hydrochloric acid in it, you will find that the iron filling will react with the with that of the hydrochloric acid and releases the hydrogen gas. So this is what it is, the property of the iron filling, and still the property is shown by the iron filling even though it is a mixture of the sulfur powder and the iron filling. Now here it is a mixture only, but still it is showing its property. The same thing here happen, that when you take a carbon disulfide and add to the sulfur powder, you will find that the sulfur powder will get dissolved. Now the same properties is still showing by that of the sulfur when it was a part of the mixture of the iron filling and iron filling also. Okay, so we can say that in mixture, the mixture in which what happened, the constituent are combined together to form the mixture, but these constituent will show their individual properties. Okay, so here the iron filling is showing its own property, sulfur powder is showing its own property. So even though it is made up of a two kind of a particle, this mixture is made up of a two kind of a particle, two type of a constituent, but the constituent will show their individual property. So we can also write the next point by this, and that is in mixture, that in mixture the constituent through which it is made up of shows their individual property. So they show their individual properties. Okay. Now, for mixing that of the iron filling to that of the sulfur powder, we do not require any kind of energy. It means no energy is required, is absorbed, you can say, by the both of them so that they mix together, or even though after mixing there you will not find any kind of energy is released. Okay, so we can say by this that when you mix the iron filling and the sulfur powder, no energy is released or no energy is required. So, no energy is released or absorbed by the mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder. So no energy is released or no energy, neither an energy is required, so that the combination or so that the formation of the iron filling and sulfur powder can take place. Now there is also another thing, student, that since the constituents they show their own properties, it means their melting point and boiling point also varies from each other. Okay, so we can also write it that the iron filling melting point, because when you heat that of them, you will find that iron filling will melt with its own melting point and the sulfur will melt with its own melting point. Okay, so we can say that they are having different melting point as well as boiling point. This mixture is having its own its own melting and boiling point.